But it is the latest breaking details on the executive committee member meeting that the Pac-12 had today. And unfortunately, absolutely nothing came out of that meeting today. I was told by a source very close to the situation that there really is no update. And now what you have is you have the Pac-12 that continues in limbo. And here we are rapidly approaching the month of April. And the Pac-12 still does not have a TV deal done. Now, having said that, I will also say we talked to sources around the Pac-12 today, did a lot of homework on this story today, talked to a source around the Pac-12 who freely admitted that athletic directors and presidents are speaking to Brett Yormark at the Big 12. So there's no doubt that there is, I think, a very, very close tipping point today with the Pac-12. And Jake, I think not getting any tangible results out of this executive meeting today is just another sign that I don't think they're close to a TV deal.
Yeah, I think that, the Pac-12 is in this situation where, the leaders of these universities have a decision in front of them, in its simplest form. You have a decision to make. You have a decision if you're Washington and Oregon and ASU and Utah and Colorado. And that decision is very simple. Are you okay taking less money and being on the major players, the ESPNs of the world or what have you, on a more traditional TV setup? Or are you okay and willing to make more money, most likely, but be all streaming? And this conundrum, this sort of philosophical difference, I feel like is ultimately what will be the Pac-12's undoing, in my opinion, because I don't think it's possible for George Kliavkoff to get a grant of rights done with all 10 members and have that happen in a timely fashion. I think that the other issue here is that, you have your Washingtons, your Oregons, the major players in the conference who are going to want more of very little money. And it concerns me.
I'm sorry, did you say more?
Well, I mean, they're going to want more of very little money. The pie is
awesome.
Quite small in the Pac-12. And I'm not even trying to hate, but this is the situation they find themselves in. So if you're a Washington or an Oregon or, again, you all know the names. If you're any of these power players in the Pac-12, are you really going to sit here and sign a grant of rights that's going to hold you back? And I think the idea that you still have people doubting whether presidents in the Pac-12 are talking to Brett Yormark is insane to me, because the reality of the situation is presidents always talk to presidents. Presidents always talk to commissioners. All these people run in the same circle. So even if expansion didn't exist, these people are still having conversations. So to me, it's like, hey, you should be having the conversation. They are having the conversation. And to me, we're at a point where I don't know if there's actually going to be like a grant of rights done. I'm starting to doubt whether it's even possible or not because of the philosophical differences in the conference.
Well, I think that's a very interesting question. I think the Apple TV part of this equation is huge. But John Canzano, the Bald-Faced Truth, said today that Fox Sports was back involved in the Pac-12 media deal. We asked specifically about that today. We were told that is not the case. We told you several months ago, back in August now, man, dude, it is almost April.
Already.
I said a couple of months ago back in August.
Not to interrupt, but I think that in and of itself is a super valid point. Dude, Time is ticking. Time is going by. Time does not slow down for anybody. And that's why I say, like this Canzano reporting on Fox, to me, like he just said, we were told that's not the case. Why would Fox want to get back involved? Why? Like, Fox doesn't need it. Fox, they just don't.
Yeah, I don't know what the motivation would be, but today it was explained to me that, as we've said all along, if Fox is involved, it's for college basketball, because their plate is absolutely full with college football between the Big 10 and the Big 12. They just don't have a need for it. And remember that they've got 63%, I believe it is, of the Big 12 basketball package. So they absolutely could pick up 3 more basketball games, a weekend, I would imagine, if Fox wanted to do that for FS1, what have you. I mean, they absolutely could do that. And I think the way that Brett Yormark has talked about monetizing basketball would not be surprising to me at all to see the Big 12, the Pac-12, that do some kind of combo package on Fox where you have a Pac-12 game following a Big 12 game or et cetera. I just don't see that Fox is involved as a major player. I don't believe they're involved at all. I could be wrong about that. I don't see why Fox would get back involved. There's not a whole lot of want to, although I will say today being Wednesday, Sunday, it was explained to me that the Pac-12 is actually stealing that idea of splitting basketball off into a revenue stream. So I could see where maybe the Pac-12 went back to Fox Sports and said, hey, let's see what we can do about, doing a deal together where we figure it out. I could absolutely see that being a case because Sunday I was told that George Kliavkoff and the executive committee in the Pac-12 love the idea of making basketball a revenue stream. I think it's going to be more difficult to do that. You're losing two of your best basketball brands in SC and UCLA. Now, obviously, Bobby Hurley got a 2-year extension yesterday. You have Arizona basketball, which I think is incredibly valuable. You would think with Utah women's basketball doing what it's doing, like you have some stories around the Pac-12 for basketball. You would think that maybe the Pac-12 has the nuts to make a revenue stream out of their basketball only. And I've been told they're exploring that. I absolutely could see Fox being involved on that end. I still maintain that their best bet, if they're trying to get to where the Big 12 is to go with Apple TV, because I think they're the only ones that can make the paycheck. But we've been told by multiple sources over and over again that the biggest names in the Pac-12, including President Kase at Washington, wants nothing to do with 100% streaming. And that's the only way that Apple TV is going to get in bed with the Pac-12 is to have exclusivity on the Pac-12.
Yeah.
Now, is that $300 million a year? I don't know. I have no idea what Apple would be willing to pay on that, but it's their best payday. I don't think anybody disputes that. My question is, does George Kliavkoff have the wherewithal to get that deal done? Because I think we all know that Apple moves on Apple time. Mm-hmm. Apple does not move because you need them to move or because the Pac-12 needs all of this noise to stop. That's just simply not the way that this game is played. You're going to play on Apple's timeline and on Apple's calendar, frankly. So I think it's a very dicey situation for the Pac-12 to be in bed with Apple right now, or to be, I don't know, what is the word, relying on Apple right now? I think it's a very dicey proposition if the Pac-12 is relying on Apple to get that revenue. I still maintain what I've heard, and I heard it again today. Hey, it is still ESPN for 2 games a week, and it is still Amazon for a game of the week. That would be the ideal package. I don't know how you change that, Jake, because it feels like to me anyway that as the Pac-12 turns, we call it on this show, as the Pac-12 turns, it just doesn't seem like we're ever turning towards a solution.
No, I mean, it feels like there's not a ton of progress being made. And that's why I say, like, for as crappy of a commissioner as George Kliavkoff has been, I'm not sure that there's a commissioner out there that you could throw into his current, position and have it get done. Because the problem is like when you're saying things like, hey, like Apple won't do a deal unless you're 100% on their platform. Well, that doesn't fit in with Kase at Washington. So that's not an option. Hey, like, we have to have a certain number. Like, we have to have, $250 million or $300 million or whatever that number is to make a deal work. Like, not everybody has that kind of bread, just generally speaking. Like, yeah, sure, ESPN could probably figure out how to get $300 million out of its, pocket if they wanted to, but that's another problem. They don't necessarily want to. So it's like, not only are you having to find a monetary fit, you're also having to find a philosophical fit. And that's why I think this has been so difficult and why it's taken so long. And then I think, if you put the Pac-12 itself aside and you look at Brett Yormark in the Big 12, what Brett is doing and the way he's gone about handling business and everything, and I'm talking about everything from the TV deal itself to this combine setup, this Big 12 combine, Big 12 all-conference combine at Jerry World, like everything that Brett Yormark is doing is positive and forward moving, and it builds momentum. And so I think when you combine Yormark and his behavior and his progress with the fact that you have George Kliavkoff building this track record of struggling or I guess failing, like it all plays together to build this snowball of the Pac-12 is not going to survive, man. And I hate to say that because I love the conference just from a footballing standpoint, really football more than basketball. But like, it sucks that this conference, in my opinion, doesn't really have a way forward. So I just look at this and I say, dude, like, I don't know how you get out of this, because a lot of times in deal making and negotiations, it's like, hey, you want one thing, but the offer you have is not what you want, but it'll work. This is different than that. This is, hey, you want something, which is to survive, in my opinion, and the deal that's being offered simply is a square peg in a round hole because your group doesn't agree on that, philosophy, that course of action. So that's why I say I just don't think there's any fixing it. So Canzano can say that Fox is back involved, and that's all fine and dandy and everything. That's cool, but I don't know that saves you. I don't know that's.
But do you believe it? Do you believe it?
I don't believe it because I don't think that Fox has as President Robbins at Arizona said, I don't think Fox has some affinities for the Pac-12. I don't think that Fox is like, oh man, like we gotta have Pac-12. I don't think that's there. I think the way that ESPN and Fox view the Pac-12, as they view it as filler programming, as, hey, we've got all our stuff. Where can we make some extra ad dollars on a little slice of the pie? $10 million a year from ESPN. Hey, how can we spend 10 and make 30? How can we do that? That's how I think they look at it.
Yep, I agree. TryDayTrading.com presents the 3 o'clock hour on the Monty Show, hour number 1. And listen, you guys know we've talked about TryDayTrading.com for a long time on this show. They are back with a promotion for Monty Show members that is out of this world. And in an economy, and when we're hearing about all these layoffs, a lot of the things that we talk about is taking control of your finances. You can do that at TryDayTrading.com. They have a $10 30-day membership, and the best part about it, that $10 goes to a charity. They donate your $10 to a charity because they just want you to understand you're going to do well. You're going to control your income. Do you know what day trading is? Do you understand how to leverage the stock market on a day-to-day basis, the ups and the downs? Because somebody's making money every single day in the market. Why isn't it you? Why are you working for a paycheck when you're not working for yourself? Why are you making money for somebody else instead of making money for yourself? That's the best part about Tri-Day Trading. You work for yourself, and they're going to mentor you and teach you. So all you have to do is go to TryDayTrading.com, click on the box in the middle of the page that says 30-day $10 trial. Click on that, and it really is that simple. That's it. There's no strings attached. They give you a free webinar so you understand it. And what Tri-Day Trading does is they teach you how to leverage the stock market as a day trader to make money. And there are people every day in this country, coast to coast, making thousands of dollars a day.
Facts.
As a day trader. Listen, you want to do it part-time? You want it to be a side hustle? There are people in this country making hundreds of dollars a day on a side hustle because they went to TryDayTrading.com. That's what you need to do, because the stock market going up and the stock market going down, that's absolutely a value play for you. Get the money that you want. Change your life for $10. It's $10, a 30-day trial. And if you're out, dude. If it doesn't work for you, you're out. But what we know is nobody gets out because it makes you so much money. They're going to teach you to be a prolific day trader. And when you're ready to start making trades, you're going to trade with their money, not your money. And when you profit, you're going to keep 80% of the profit at TryDayTrading.com. TryDayTrading.com. Tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show. All you have to do, literally, the process is go to TryDayTrading.com, fill out the registration form, and at the bottom there's a drop-down menu. Click the Monty Show, hit register, good to go.
That's it.
That's it. It is that easy. It's 30 seconds max. It's $10 that goes to charity for the rest of your life. TryDayTrading.com. Thrilled to have him back on the show. Go get your $10 30-day trial membership, man. I don't know how to make it easier than that. So many people, Jake, you know we've talked about this.
Yes.
So many people have asked us, well, how do you work for yourself? How do you afford to? How do you get out of this full-time job? Because you and I both know you went to work today hating your boss.
Right. Yeah.
You went to work today saying to yourself, man, I wish I worked at home. Man, I wish, man, I hope, man, I have a dream. Stop dreaming, stop wishing, stop hoping.
Yes.
Get to trydaytrading.com. Little box in the middle of the screen, $10 30-day membership.
And again, it's a local business, and you know that we take that really seriously on the program. And I think that, you know, a lot of people, the last time Tri-Day Trading was on the show, wondered like, oh, does it work, or is it legit, or is it real? I can tell you we've got 5 people right now in the program who are profiting daily. I hear from them all the time.
Yeah.
So it's not really a question of if it works. It's only a question of how long are you going to wait to, you know, fork over $10 to charity to see what it's actually about. Because we can sit here all day and evangelize for it, right? Like, we can tell you it works. We can tell you that, you know, we sent some of our viewers through their program and it does work. But until you go and try it, until you spend your $10, right? Like, until you do that, you won't know. So that's why I'm saying there's no obligation. Give it a try. Let us know. We love feedback on the show.
Absolutely. Tell us what you think. Because we never ask you to take our word for it, like Bucked Up Energy, right? We give you free samples. There's a free sample link in the description. Or, you know, Papa Murphy's, we give you discounts. You know, the guys at Quick Quack Car Wash giving you 50% off a car wash. This is the exact same angle. They want you to know that for $10 in 30 days, you're going to know everything you need to know. And if it's not you, hey, man, no hard feelings.
All good.
But my bet is it is you. Because everybody that we know that has gone through the Tri-Day Trading program has either left their job or is making as much money as they have ever made, period.
Yes.
For $10, go figure it out. TriDayTrading.com. Get their 30-day free membership. Let's see. Curtis D316. Canzano's a joke. Wouldn't trust him saying what the weather is outside. Well, look, I think John Canzano... I've known John Canzano for a long time. I don't know him personally. I know his work. He's been on my shows as a guest. John's a good dude. I think the problem is his livelihood is the Pac-12. So if the Pac-12 goes away, John Canzano has to figure out how to spin that, right? I look at a guy like John Wilner at the San Jose Mercury News. It doesn't matter if the Pac-12 lives or dies. John's going to continue. He's one of the best writers in the country. But a guy like Canzano, who's stuck out on his own, again, remember that John Canzano works for himself. Like, he's got his radio network, he's got his website and his columns, and I would encourage you to read his stuff. It's free, and if you don't like his stuff, don't ever go back. John Canzano has said a lot of things that haven't turned out to be true. Doesn't make him a terrible guy.
Yeah.
It doesn't make him a liar. I just think he's hoping and praying. And that's a problem. WW says Canzano is a Pac-12 homer, but he presents himself that way. So I don't begrudge anything he says. I think he doesn't want to piss off his conference sources.
And that's cool, man. That's fine.
And it's why I tell you, when you hear people, every day they have breaking news on the Pac-12 TV deal. Every day. Their executive committee at the Pac-12 got together today. Their board of honchos. The presidents got together today, and nothing came of it. So their board is having a meeting where nothing new happened. There are rarely updates on the Pac-12 TV situation. It's usually when somebody does an interview, you'll get some news. But we've been telling you since August, it's $25 million, man. We've been telling you, hey, Fox is out. We've been telling you, listen, ESPN doesn't want to be a tier 1 partner.
You know,
we've told you, what did we tell you 6 weeks ago? ESPN has not spoken to the Pac-12. What do we get from the New York Post? They haven't spoken in a long time. They're not close to a deal. Like, I'm telling you, if people are like, oh, I heard this and I talked to this guy and this breaking, it's just not happening.
Yeah.
There's not news every day.
Yeah.
It's not news every day. That's the bottom line. Brent Burnett, a member of the show. BYU does help the Big 12 make money, but also brings stability. Well, I mean, I don't know why this is controversial with BYU. I don't get this. And again, I know every Pac-12 fan in the world is about to come at me, bro.
Right.
Well, come at me, bro. Listen, I'm not scared, and I'm not hard to find.
I know what time it is.
I'm on Instagram and Twitter, man. The Monty Show, it's right there. BYU is a valuable commodity. The Pac-12 screwed up by not adding BYU. Their excuse was they're not a research institution, and their alumni are largely undergraduates. Okay, that's cool. You should have added them to the conference when you added Utah, because you wouldn't be in the position you're in now had you done that. Because we tell you all the time, we said it all last football season, put BYU on TV and you're going to get 1 million viewers. Put BYU in your stadium, you're going to see a ton of BYU fans in the seats.
Facts.
Because they travel and people watch their games.
Dude, they generate revenue. It is what it is. If you don't like it, it's fine. But let's not sit here and say the Pac-12 didn't make a mistake. And by the way, this conversation is tired as hell. Like, if you're a Pac-12 fan and you think they didn't make a mistake, I'm not really sure what you are looking at, because ultimately it's never a good idea to have less money than more money. And I know I'm reinventing the wheel, right? It's never a good idea to do something that makes you less revenue.
Less money versus more.
I know, right? I know.
I've been a rich man.
I know.
And I've been a poor man.
I know.
I've been a rich man and I have been a poor man.
And I'll take rich every time. That's right. Absolutely right. The BYU slander is remarkable.
Yeah.
They are an excellent institution as far as education goes, as far as morality goes, making men out of boys, making women out of girls. They are an excellent place to send your child to get education. If you're upset with the LDS community, okay, I get that. Maybe BYU's not for you. But the idea that BYU doesn't make people money, the idea that BYU didn't add millions to the Big 12 TV deal, the idea that BYU, because of their relationship as an independent with ESPN, didn't bridge a gap and make it easier to add them to your conference. If you don't believe that, you're crazy, because those are all facts.
Oh, what are you talking about, man?
There has never been an independent program that had to do what BYU's done.
Yeah.
And Notre Dame, Army, BYU essentially was left with no choice but to become independent.
Yeah.
And they did it, and they did it at a very high level. It's, again, why I always say Tom Homo is, again, one of the most underrated executives in all of professional sports.
Yeah.
He built schedules. He built TV deals. He built a radio network. He built a corporate sponsorship platform. All of the stuff that they did and all of the money they made in Provo as independents can be directly traced back to Tom Homo's execution as an athletic director at the independent level.
Yeah.
And it is not easy. And I am certain it took years off of his life.
Yeah.
And a new president is coming in at BYU, a BYU man that has been elevated. I think BYU's future is incredibly bright. And if you want to rip BYU, okay, hey, just admit you're biased when you're doing it. Just admit you're biased when you're doing it. That's what I would say.
Schemers trying to control their little worlds.
It's incredible. Skin Rules says BYU is an LD program. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, what does that mean, dude?
What does an LD program mean? Because I'm unsure of that. Steven Smith gives us a $20 tip to say, what are your thoughts on the Big 12 doing an all-conference pro day in Texas? Well, and I think we've talked about this.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about the fact that it's a stroke of genius. It's a revenue opportunity. It's an exposure opportunity. It's a reach opportunity. It is a relationship with the NFL that is pretty much going to be unbreakable.
Yeah.
It is exposure for your kids. It is a recruiting tool. I mean, there's nothing bad about it.
Yeah.
And we talked about it the other day when this news broke. There's nothing bad about that.
Just add it to the ledger of all the good stuff Brett Yormark has done.
And a lot of people missed the story the other day that IMG Endeavor did a data and statistical deal with the Big 12. I'm telling you, that is a significant deal for the Big 12, because if it does nothing else, it will disseminate what IMG Endeavor is going to do. Is they're going to send those statistics out to everybody.
Yeah.
And they're going to be fact-checked, they're going to be credible, and they are going to be distributed across the globe.
Yeah.
And just that alone makes it worth it.
Yep.
Sacktown says, light the beam.
Okay.
Not the other night you didn't light the beam. James Knight says, don't come in trolling Sacktown, you fool.
Seriously.
You know. The DA, not a member of the program. So between Yormark jumping in the media line and Bob Bowlesby expanding with BYU, quote, BYU lifted the media deal from 27 to 31.7 million alone. We've been telling you this for years on the show. BYU is worth millions of dollars.
Yeah, and I'm kind of with you on this one. I'm not really sure why this was like outrageous. I think people just didn't consider it. I think people were like, oh, yeah, the TV deal in the Big 12 is worth 31.5. Well, how did they get to that valuation? Like, nobody thought about that. And I think that's the thing. Like, that's what I always encourage people to do, like, when they're talking about the Pac-12 situation.
Yeah.
Like you got to think about the fact, like, nobody's talking about the exit fee for USC and UCLA. How does that factor in?
It's a very interesting question.
When do they get the exit fee? Like, is that already in their pocket? Have they not paid that yet? Like, we don't know that information yet. And what's funny is nobody, I feel like, or very few people, I think I've seen a couple places, but not a lot of people are talking about the fact that in conjunction with BYU adding that value, Brett Yormark has, I believe, $100 million just chilling to distribute out to schools as part of the media deal that he's getting with the grant of rights side of it. Like, that adds value. So that's what I'm saying. Like, the Pac-12 damn well may get to, 27, 28. We've heard it's 25. So if it's 25, right, strictly from TV, distributors, Apple, who the hell ever, and then let's say that, USC and UCLA provide another, 50 or whatever that number is, like, you can kind of see where things are at. So for me, I just think you got to consider, like, hey, like, it's not just what someone's willing to pay you. It's also what you have sitting in an account somewhere waiting to be distributed.
That's right. And I think it's very easy. And again, this is just me. It's very easy when you want to write somebody off because you have an anti-bias.
Yeah.
It's very easy to do that. And I just think it's foolish. It's crazy to me. Gumby Extra Regular, a member of the program, says Tom Homo couldn't win at Cal. Maybe not, but he's sure as heck winning at BYU, right? Matt Merle says 31 plus should be right around 50, 60 million with all of that is shared. And it depends on, hey, how you do in the tournament. Are you getting into the college football playoff? Like, it's just a matter of, how does your conference perform? Yeah. How many shares are you taking in the tournament? All of that good stuff. But, listen, I think when you look at all of the math in the Big 12, I don't think there's any doubt you're probably getting to 50, 60 million.
Yeah.
Anything above 50 million, you should be jumping up and down and
that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I find it funny that someone like, a President Randall, a President Robbins, like, who the hell ever you want to point to, any of these presidents would suggest that going to the Big 12 is somehow not beneficial. And I'm not really looking to have the academics conversation for like the millionth time.
Yeah, can
today.
we for one day not have to explain academics and its impact?
Can we not? Like, we do it every day and it's kind of tired. But
right?
My point just is like, I look at the 50, 60 million number that you could potentially get to, especially with the performance you've had like this year in the bracket. And I'm just like, dude, like, if you're Utah, like, how are you not considering that? How are you not sitting here saying, and I know it's pennies on the dollar. I know that nobody seems to care because you're getting billions in academic revenue. I get it. But I just have a hard time believing you're not like, damn, dude, like, we're only probably going to get to like, if we were to have a good year in the tournament, we're going to get to like mid-30s based on like where our TV deal is going to come in. And they're at like 50, 60. Like, that's a lot of bread.
That's
dude.
a lot of bread.
That's a lot of bread.
That's a lot of bread. Curtis, member of the show, says Big 12 is about to do a data rights deal as well. Yeah, it pretty much was announced. It's not official yet, but it pretty much was announced. Yeah. So, I mean, there's no doubt about it. Sacktown, what are you doing? What? Cool. Okay, everybody, light the beam and go Bruins.
Well, and he's a troll with that comment up there.
Yeah, I just
like, come on, dude.
Nothing you guys are saying is credible. They don't have sources. So then, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? Like, this is what I love about guys like that. Yeah. What are you doing here? Sports Express podcast. Pac-12 will take Apple money. Pac-12 strong. The problem is, if you take the Apple money, you're 100% on stream. And I think just about everybody in this conference has said they don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So if you take the Apple money, because if you look at the MLS model, it's 100% stream. Why would Tim Cook and the people at Apple be like, yeah, let's let them be on ESPN with their biggest games, but take the trash out over here in Apple TV and let's see how that goes.
Yeah.
You're not going to do that. Well, I just don't think that's I don't think that's a thing,
Yeah.
but I could be wrong. I mean, hey, maybe I'm wrong. Like I just don't see that happening.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's going to do something that doesn't benefit them, and that's why I say, like, you've maintained for a long time that if you're going to do a stream deal, you got to go all in on it, and I'm with that idea. I think that, especially with the position you're in the Pac-12, like, you're leaning and I guess hedging more and more towards doing an Apple TV heavy deal. And the problem is there's no such thing as a Apple TV heavy deal because they make you be exclusive. So it's like, hey, whether it's Apple TV or Amazon, you have to go all in. And I don't feel like the MLS specifically has done a good job of reaching into the depths of the consumer to say, hey, come check us out. Hey, come do a 10-day, 30-day, or a $10, 30-day
and I
trial,
guess if
dude.
you're a Pac-12 fan, what are you willing to pay for that? I'm not willing to pay $100 a year for Pac-12 football.
But what if they did, like, for MLS, not to get too far in the weeds, but like for MLS, if you just did, hey, it's $5 for a week. If you hate it, there's no commitment, right? If you like it, okay, the price is the price. You know what I mean? Like, they need to be doing more than that. Putting stuff through, cell phone companies as part of a new every two renewal is not going to get the job done.
But that doesn't, by the way, that does not get you MLS. The deals that they're doing are not getting you MLS.
Yeah.
They're getting you Apple TV. They're not, the T-Mobile deal does not get you free MLS access.
Yeah.
So
I think they're hoping that people taking advantage of that will sign up, though.
And in the comments section, let's hear from you on this. How much are you willing to pay for Pac-12 TV? If you're on Apple TV, and I want to state this before we go too far, my strongest opinion is the Pac-12, if they're going to go all in, should go all in with Amazon. But my best belief is the deal that they need to do is a Friday night game on Amazon and a couple of games a week with the ESPN family and networks.
Right.
Period. That's a deal that needs to be done. That's what's best for the Pac-12 here today. The problem is, I think that deal is $22 million. And I don't think they can get a grant of right on that deal. But I'm telling you, that's a deal they should do.
Yeah.
The deal I think they will do, I have no idea. But if you are a Pac-12 fan, how much are you willing to pay to see Pac-12 football and basketball? Because I've got to be honest, I'm not willing to pay it. I'm too much of a sports consumer to pay $100 a year for it. If you allow me to watch, if you will allow me to watch the biggest games, including Utah, let me have access to Utah and I can buy them a la carte, I will do that.
Yeah.
I will do that. But I am not willing to pay $100 a year because I don't watch Oregon State unless they're good.
But why would Apple make the consumer subscribe at the level they have to subscribe? Well, because they know that if they were to offer a la carte in that type of model, what would everyone do? Well, they just buy a la carte. I'm not interested in Apple TV. I'm interested in the football game. I'm not interested in your reality TV series that you're producing.
Yeah.
Because once again, you haven't done a good enough job telling the story of Apple TV and what exactly you offer. I couldn't name one show on Apple TV. Honestly, like, I'm not even kidding. I couldn't name one show. Now, I know I'm not intimately familiar with Paramount, but I know Mayor of Kingstown is on it, and I know that I've watched that show.
But where do I get Mayor of Kingstown though? I don't get it through Paramount Plus. I get it through Amazon Prime Video.
Yeah.
That's where I get it.
Yeah, dude.
Everything I stream, anything I'm paying for is through Amazon Prime Video. And I think the obvious thing, what did I buy today? I bought brakes for my Grand Cherokee on Amazon. I buy my protein bars, Amazon. Right? Like my dog food, Amazon. My laundry detergent comes through Amazon. Like all of these things I get through Amazon. I get my streaming video through Amazon. I get my Thursday Night Football through Amazon.
Yeah.
It's already baked in, right? It's already baked in.
Yeah.
And if the rumors are true that we are going to get an Amazon Prime Sports mobile app, forget it. It's over. There's no good reason that the Pac-12, and as they are constituted with these 10 teams, they have strong football brands in the Pac-12. Washington, Oregon, Utah can compete at the top of any conference in this country.
Yeah.
Any single conference. They can compete at the top of it. You don't need USC and UCLA to survive.
Yeah.
Now, are you going to thrive at the level you would with Los Angeles? You're not. Without USC, I don't put much value in UCLA football. I think it's a basketball school. They don't win on the football field. They just don't, right? So I put a lot of value in USC because it's a football powerhouse. Lincoln Riley's there, Caleb Williams there. Everybody wants to see him. If I got to pay $5 to see USC in Utah, I'm happy to do that, right? Like, I'm more than happy to do that.
Yeah.
But without USC in the conference, I think you're going to struggle. And
it is what it is.
I think the biggest question is still unanswered. What is the Big Ten's appetite for Oregon and Washington? Because I think that's where you really get into some difficult times if you are the Pac-12. I think if you lose Arizona's or if you lose Oregon and Washington, you are in real trouble.
Well, I think we know. I mean, President Robbins at Arizona admitted, straight up stated, that the deal was originally going to be USC and Oregon, not USC and UCLA. So we know that the Big Ten has a big-time appetite for Oregon. And yeah, hey, President Robbins, hey, if you want to mock Oregon and say, because he straight up said, hey, they wear a bunch of different colored jerseys and they win on the football field. That's why they want them. Yeah, you're not wrong. They do.
It ain't the worst basketball court in all of college sports.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But it'll do. Like, come on,
they
man.
want that
like,
Phil Knight money.
Yeah. And
they
so,
want that Phil Knight money.
Like, you understand it. And I think the thing is, I feel like a lot of people got high on Washington because Washington had such a good year on the football field. But the reality of the situation is Washington is not good every single year for the last 5 years like Oregon's
I would
been.
agree.
So that's the trouble.
I would agree. I think it is. Look, man, I just don't happen to think this is rocket science. Neither is hitting the like button right now. Please, it really helps the channel grow. We are rapidly approaching 14,000 subs on this channel.
Yeah.
I think we're like 50 away or something stupid like that.
Yeah.
On the channel. So we would love to get to 14,000 today during the show. We're at 13,981. We're 19 subscribers away from 14,000. Hook it up. We appreciate you. We appreciate Tom.
Oh,
Let's
here we
go.
Let's go. We're starting early and often, baby.
Tom's a member of the show now. Tom, our newest member. Welcome to the program. We appreciate you very much, Tom. Thank you for that. Our membership is pretty simple to understand. Here is a link. I'm going to put it in the comments section right now. The way this works is you have two tiers. $1.99 a month supports the show. Get your comment read before non-members. We shout you out as a member.
Yeah.
At $9.99 a month, our upper tier, you get exclusive access to our members-only Instagram chat, where we give you all of our exclusive inside information on the NBA, college sports, all of our Pac-12 stuff goes into that group first. We're giving away WWE tickets Friday night here at the Maverick Center. Everybody in our group got those a full 4 hours ahead of everybody else on the show.
His name is John C.
You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of perks. And by the way, the community, the chat during NBA games, the chat during football games and basketball games.
The World Baseball Classic that happens once every generation.
I'm telling you, the Instagram chat is worth its weight in gold.
Yeah.
Worth its weight in gold. Tom, welcome to the membership. We appreciate you. Charles Chamberlain, not a member of the show, especially as they haven't really expanded their own footprint. Charles, I missed your previous one. He said, it was a terrible decision for the PAC to leave the door open to the Big 12 to enter the footprint by getting BYU.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
But I think you got outmaneuvered. And you got outmaneuvered by USC. And again, as I said a minute ago, I think the world of USC as a brand and a powerhouse. You don't have to love the Trojans. You don't, in any way, shape, or form athletically. I don't know that any of us do. But you have to respect USC as an institution, right? When their president said, no, we're not interested in expanding. And then she said that because she had put her name on a piece of paper allegedly already and faxed it over to the Big Ten.
Excellent strategy,
Dude,
sir.
so USC is the one that outmaneuvered the Pac-12.
USC is why we're here.
USC is exactly why we're here. There's no doubt about that. You know, like it's incredible to me that when you look at the numbers in this conference, I don't know how you explain it. James Knight, what's up with you, my friend? James Knight, by the way, for all of you who don't know, is in Melbourne, Australia.
Yeah.
So always good to see you. 14,000 subs. That's crazy, guys. It is.
Hey, we're on the track to 20, man. Let's go.
The last year, this show has exploded.
Yeah.
I mean, it has been, essentially from the time we broke the news on Rudy Gobert about a year and a half ago, this channel's just exploded, and we work very hard. So the fact that, we add about 1,000, 2,000 subs a month is amazing. Without you guys, without all 500 of you that are watching the show, we couldn't do what we do. So we appreciate you. RFR Mac, a member of the show, says Pac-12 board met this morning. I'm told presidents received a positive update, and the process will continue. I was told directly today that essentially what Kliavkoff updated on the TV deal was we are status quo. And he essentially said we are in the process because what happened was, and for those of you who don't know, this is not new information. We've had it on the show for several weeks.
Yeah.
They have a deal done. The reason that ESPN and the Pac-12 haven't talked in weeks, ESPN got to the point where they said, this is what we're willing to do, take it or leave it.
Right.
And so there's nothing for them to talk about. They went back to, Kliavkoff took it to the executive committee, and the way the Pac-12 is set up, of the 10 remaining schools, because USC and UCLA are no longer in that conversation directly.
Right.
They have 3 presidents that make up the executive committee. They each have a pod of presidents that they go back and work with. And the process is, hey, we have this deal. This is where we're at. How do you guys feel about that? The executive committee chops it up, they dice it up, and they take it to their pods of presidents.
Yeah.
President said, we're not doing that. It's not enough money. It's not enough. I was told it's about the volume of streaming, and the money combined was not a non-starter for 8 out of the 10 presidents, right? So their choice was re-engage Apple. So about a month ago, you heard the news that they re-engaged Apple. And I think they are trying to figure out how can they get a grant of rights with 50% or more streaming. That's where it is in the Pac-12.
Yeah.
They're trying to figure out how much streaming are the presidents willing to accept. Because we've heard pretty routinely, it's somewhere between 25% and 50% and definitely not 100%.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody knows. I think from the presidents we've heard from, I don't think there's a president in the Pac-12 that because of their age largely, I don't think there's a president in the Pac-12 that's willing to do 100% streaming.
Yeah, and I think this concept of the hesitation around streaming is pretty incredible. Like, you look at shows like ours, shows like Pat McAfee, like, you look at the different options you have in the streaming world for entertainment right now, and it's pretty clear that streaming is here. And I'm not, I guess I'm just surprised that the people leading these universities are unable to grasp it, because ultimately you're research institutions. You have all these resources to do research and understand, hey, like where is, like as an example, how long does someone watch a television product that is not streamed internet, but a television product versus that same product on an internet stream that's on a TV? You got to know the difference between that. How long? But I'm being serious. You got to know the difference.
But it's true. The problem is, I don't think the ratings for radio and TV in this country are completely broken. And as you're saying, on stream, I can tell you how many people watch something on our channel every single minute.
Yeah.
What they watched, how long they watched it, when they watched it, how many times they've watched it, where they live, what zip code they're in, what their age is, what their gender is.
Because there's this little thing called an IP address.
And YouTube mandates that if you're going to have an account, you give them certain information.
Yes.
And Google is a business of aggregating demographics.
Yeah.
On radio, you have no idea who's listening ever, anytime.
You're guessing.
Like, we know for a fact that in a 28-day period on this show, we're pushing 400,000 views. We know that. We know that the average person watches our live stream for 29 minutes. We know that. The Pac-12 has no idea how any of that works. No idea.
They have to have all these conversations.
The fact that the Pat McAfee show is getting $30 million a year from FanDuel to be on YouTube Live every day.
Yeah.
And the Pac-12 and its presidents don't want to go 100% streaming. Tells you that this conference doesn't understand business. When you don't understand why live streaming free video, you need to be free. Ask MLS right now. And by the way, we've asked Apple TV, we've asked Amazon, we've asked ESPN, we've asked all the players. By the way, we got another no from the University of Utah today.
Yeah.
We asked Mark Harlan to come on, the athletic director. We asked the president to come on. We got a resounding no.
No.
And straight up, we were told by Utah people that they don't want to answer your follow-up questions.
This is a code 10 abort.
I don't know what to tell you about, but the good news was one of our guys at Utah agreed that the interview on KSL Sports Zone with Hans Olsen was embarrassing, which gave me great pleasure, by the way. So, it is what it is. Let's see. Who else is in today? Dibs. What's up, Dibs? A member of the show. If a P5 conference is defined as having the ability to, quote, assert control, does the inability to assert that control in their TV negotiations already prove the PAC are just a G5 conference now? I don't know what it proves. What it proves is Brett Yormark kicked the crap out of the Pac-12 in TV deals.
Yeah, I think
that's what it says.
I think it proves what you said, though. Like, hey, they got outmaneuvered. Like,
yes.
it proves that, Brett has just been a step ahead the whole time. And I think what it also proves really at the foundation, because I think we has been ready for this role. Brett Yormark has experience. Go look at his track record.
Yep.
You will see that this is not dude's first rodeo. And George Kliavkoff is quite the opposite. George Kliavkoff, in his introductory press conference as commissioner of the Pac-12, go find it on YouTube, flat out said, hey, I was surprised that people, or I wasn't surprised that people didn't know who I was because I flew under the radar, right?
Yes.
Like, I was not some big head honcho. So that's what I'm saying. Maybe we should stop saying Brett Yormark outmaneuvered him, even though he is regularly. Maybe we should start saying the president group and the chancellors and the leadership in the Big 12 is just simply better at what they do than the folks in the Pac-12. I'm sorry, Utah fan. This is a reality we've seen play out.
I agree. A reality we've also seen play out is the explosion of Bucked Up Energy, the official energy drink of the Monty Show, and I cannot tell you how excited I am to have a can of Miami back in my hands today. It is one of the most difficult, you laugh. It is one of the most difficult flavors of Bucked Up Energy to get. The black can of Miami, it's 300 milligrams of caffeine.
Yeah, it's got some punch.
Zero sugar, but it's nice and level punch, and it's comfortable, and it tastes exquisite. It is so good. Don't take our word for it. Go to Bucked Up, any of the Bucked Up stores. Tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show. They will absolutely give you a free can of Bucked Up Energy. Oh, you want free samples? Okay, that's fine too. In the description of this show below, what you are going to see is that there is a free sample link where you get not one, not two, but 3 free samples of your choice. You pick them. If you're a workout guy like we are, we're 5 a.m. workout guys.
Yep.
You got to have pre-workout at that hour. Try all of their pre-workouts. And by the way, the best shaker cup in the business, Bucked Up shaker cups are amazing. They'll give you that free. So 3 free samples, a free shaker cup. They'll send it right to your front door, coast to coast, no matter where you are in the great United States of America.
The United States of Mike Trout.
Click the link below for the free samples at Bucked Up. If you want to go to buckedup.com and order your supplements, use the promo code Monty to get 20% off at checkout. But do yourself a favor. Go find yourself a Bucked Up Miami.
Yeah. Let me I gotta get in on this right here, man.
Because it is good. Dude, I've missed you so much, baby.
Dude, Miami is by far the best. Mango Tango is second in my opinion, but Miami is just, dude, it's head and shoulders, bro.
I have missed you so much, sweetheart.
I'm so bricked up right now.
Dude, and I'm bricked up because of the can of Miami. I'm telling you, it is spectacular to have it on the program. So we appreciate that. Thanks to everybody who hooks it up. Sacktown is just going on and on about UCLA. Here's the problem with UCLA. The Big Ten wasn't after UCLA.
Nope.
The Big Ten was after USC.
Yep.
But UCLA went along because USC needed a travel partner. You know what I'm saying? Bighorn Basin. Love how the Monty Show calls it like it is. Great show, guys. Always is.
Dude,
Thank you.
Can we get, appreciate you, bro. Can we get one person to gift one membership for Bighorn? Love the name. Like, let's get you into the membership, bro. Entry level. Get in on this.
Let's go. Get into you guys. If you're not a member, you can cancel anytime. At least try the membership out.
Yeah, dude.
Because I'm telling you, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Renee Roca, also not a member. Maybe the Stream Team's presidents will take a majority streaming deal just not to look like fools. I think it's absolutely a possibility.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Andrew, a member of the show, says Sacktown wrong again. UCLA is a great baseball school and a great basketball school. They don't win in football.
Yeah, their football program sucks.
They don't. And I know that DTR was there 17 seasons. He was a great quarterback.
Yeah, Chip Kelly's no Lincoln Riley.
But he'll do for UCLA. I mean, and you just extended him, right? It's crazy. TS Solutions Pro says, just curious why YouTube is not in the mix. Well,
great question. Yeah.
We've talked about this. Larry Scott told us at Pac-12 Media Day, dude, it must have been 5 years ago now.
At least.
And it's on the channel, the interview with Larry Scott. He said they were talking to Google, YouTube.
Yeah.
And it never materialized because YouTube TV, I still maintain YouTube TV is going to become a power in the sports world. I mean, they're going to get NBA, I would think.
Yeah.
They have the NFL already. I mean, come on now.
Yeah.
Why would you not? I think Google would be a great place for that.
I think the thing that we all have to remember too in the big picture, the NBA deal is up. And the NBA deal is a big deal to YouTube and ESPN and all these players.
Yes.
So the reason I bring up the NBA deal is because the NBA is so highly coveted because it is such a revenue generating machine, regardless of what you think of their politics and, you know, how the league is run and all that stuff. The reality is they make a bunch of money, so they're highly coveted. So I do think there's this piece of this whole Pac-12 situation where you have people like Apple or Amazon saying, hey, we got to make sure that we've got our pot of money ready to compete on the NBA. Like, you got to make sure you're ready for that.
By the way, everybody is running the same smack at Sacktown. Tom, a member of the show, says, quote, the Rose Bowl's once again empty as UCLA readies to take on the Pac-12. Here we are at the Rose Bowl all by ourselves as UCLA takes on Oregon State in a game that nobody gives a shit about.
Hey, where's the crickets? Where's the cricket sounder here, man?
Right? Like,
Stay hard.
No,
that's the wrong one.
That's not it.
Hi, join me and all the crickets down in the grass as UCLA takes on Sacramento State.
Light the beam.
And, you turn that beam on, buddy. There's more lumens in that beam than there are fans at the Rose Bowl today as we get ready to kick off UCLA football.
I just want to thank you all.
All right, welcome.